The two steps are, the first step is always plan for base condition first. If the base condition is satisfied, you have to end the function and return back the answers. Base condition is nothing but a termination condition of recursion. If we don't plan base condition, what will happen? The recursive function will go to infinity. So in order to avoid infinity in recursion, we will always use base condition or termination condition as the first step of recursion. So in the recursion, always remember the first step is what? Base condition. And the second step is what? If the base condition is not satisfied, you have to continue the recursive process by calling the calling the function again and again using in recursive manner by sending some set of parameters. Okay. So as we discussed, whenever a function calling itself is called as recursive function, and the recursive function performs task by dividing the job into pieces. It will divide the job into a small problems such that the until the problem is very small, you can find the solution. Okay. So when a function calls a copy of itself to work on a smaller problem, then it is called as recursion. We also seen some exam in the above slide where factorial is calling when a factorial problem is big, then it is solving the copy of smallest problem until reach to the very small problem where you can give the solution easy. So recursion always consists two parts: termination condition and calling the recursively. Okay, so it is important always to plan for a termination condition first. So if you don't plan the termination condition in recursion, then we will go to infinity. Okay, so always in recursion, the problem is reduced to a solution using recursion. So normally the basic difference between recursion and iteration is recursion. If you use recursion, the code will become a short and the code is very less in size, whereas in iterative solutions are more efficient than recursion, but okay, there is some complexity in the solution. Okay, so always recursive functions are very easy to write in the point of programmer, but they are difficult to trace. Okay, but it is very easy to write. Okay, so here are some basic differences between recursion and iteration. So in iteration, we will use loops, whereas in recursion, we will use recursion, where storage space is more in recursion, less storage space in iteration, and overhead is more because always function calling is a complex task, but we want to solve a complex program in easiest manner. That's why we are using recursion. Okay, so always recursion is a better choice because it is a more elegant solution for complex problems like staircase problem, escalator problems, where the small problem solution is an input for a big problem. So that kind of problems are solved very easily in recursion. Okay, so the advantages of recursion will be it reduces the size of the code because it will have less lines of code, whereas in iteration, of course, in the iteration we will have more number of lines. And one more advantage of recursion is it is easy to solve some complex problems using recursion. So the disadvantage of recursion coming to where it will require more space because so many copies of functions to be executed, so much memory is allocated, will take some time to execute, but the complex problems are solved easily. Okay, so this is about the recursive functions. Now let us discuss about some programs in recursive function. Okay, so we will start with at least 3 to 4 programs we'll try to discuss on recursion. So we will start with the factorial program first. So first we are showing a factorial program using an iterative approach. Here, what are you doing here? You are following a looping statement to perform factorial. Okay, so whereas in a recursion manner, how will you perform in a recursive approach? So in a recursion, So this is an approach for recursion. So this is an approach for recursion. Okay, so let us compile this code. We are adding some two printf statements in 22nd line and 24th line in order to show you how this function is calling. How the function is calling recursively, I want to show. Actually, these printf statements 22 and 24 are not required to solve a solution, only to demonstrate to you people so that how this recursion process goes. So before going to that, let us see here the factorial function here. The long is a return data type where factorial is a function name and n is a parameter. And what we are thinking is if the problem is small, so in this factorial example, when the problem will become small, when the value is 1, the problem is small. If the value is not 1, what we have to do? You have to call the factorial function again and again to reducing the value. Okay, so let us execute this program once. Let us execute this program once, where the output will be. So if you observe the output in recursion, please observe here the output. Now I am calling a 10 factorial here. That what is the value of 10 factorial? Immediately, definitely the problem is complex. And please observe here, the factorial of 10 is a big number. Now we have printing the output in a very simple manner. Now let us remove these printf statements in order to show how the function is getting called. Okay, so once again we are compiling the code and once again we are executing the code. People, if anybody is having a problem in listening a class, please let me know so that we can adjust the audio and video settings. Okay, so when you enter a value 10, here, if you please observe what is happening, using these two printf statements in 22nd line and 24th line, I'm trying to display how the big problem is reduced to small problem. Here, the factorial 10 is calling factorial 9, 9 is calling 8, 8 is calling 7, like that. Till the problem becomes very small, it will keep on calling. Once it reached to factorial 1, immediately the solution is getting back and got the answer and returning the solution in the way it is called, in the same way the solution will return back. So please observe this output carefully. Okay, so in what way the recursive function will get called and in what way the answer is calculated and returned back is we are trying to show using a simple printf statements. Okay, so like this, you can demonstrate any program flow using a simple printf. So please observe the output here. 10 is calling 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In the same way, answers are going back. Okay, once again, factorial of 1 is giving answer to factorial of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And finally, the answer is printed. So 10 is calling till 1 and 1 is returning the answer like to 10. And finally, the answer is getting printed. Okay, so this is about factorial of a number using recursion. And this is the logic we are writing here. And the only important line is, only 23rd line is important because we want to show a printf statements. That's why we have written this. Otherwise, these printf statements are not required. Only if you want to show a output, we are keeping this. Okay, so I am removing this all printfs because we are the main intention of recursion itself showing writing the code in less number of time, less number of. Okay, so return directly you answer instead of writing all these. So only those printfs I have written only to show you how the flow is going on. So using a simple code, we are able to write it. So yes, everybody. So this is a code for factorial of a number using recursion. Okay, so this code will demonstrate about recursive code. Recursive factorial function. Okay, so the code is to demonstrate recursive function. Now let us demonstrate one more program. So this finishes your recursive factorial. Next, we want to show you example. The same way you want to calculate sum here. Example. Now in the factorial, what are you doing? You are trying to, factorial means multiplication process. Assume that you want to calculate sum of the natural numbers up to 1 to n. What you want to calculate? Sum of the natural numbers 1 to n. So in the factorial, you will multiply, whereas in the sum of the natural numbers, you will do add. So the same program is written once again. The only difference is in the place of star, you are keeping plus. Okay. So if you observe here, what we do in the program, we'll accept a number and we are asking the user program to perform sum of natural numbers. So we are passing a function called as sum. So first I'll check whether the number is equals to 0 or not. If the number is 0, the sum is 0. Otherwise, what you have to do, you have to add it to the, call it into the next function so that you are dividing the job into pieces. So let us compile this code and run this code here. So once you run this code, if you please observe here how the code is getting executed. So I'm entering value 10 once again. Now here, sum of the natural numbers of first 10 natural numbers is what? 55. Okay. So like this, the factorial and the sum of the natural numbers, both are same. The only difference is what between the program sum and factorial is we replace star with plus. Remaining entire program will become same. But if you observe here, both the programs what I have written, first I am always planning for what? Base condition only first. First I am writing a base condition, which is a terminates the recursion at one point. If you don't write the base condition properly, your program will go to infinity. Now this is the second program what we have executed is what? Sum of the natural numbers from 1 to 10. Not only 10, you can enter any big number here. So sum of n natural numbers using recursion. Is that clear, everybody? So if you have any doubt, please let me know. Okay, so that we will discuss. So this is a one more program. And next, one more program what you want to discuss is we want to calculate sum of the digits, or we want to calculate sum of the digits here. Yeah. So here we want to calculate sum of the digits, please. Okay. So what are you doing is you want to count the number of digits. Are we clear? So what you do in the main, first you'll accept a number. Okay. And after accepting number, you are calling a function called as count digits. Okay. So once the control goes to count digit, what will happen? We are writing a recursive logic here for the counting number of digits, which you also say like sum of the digits. So we have already written iterative logic in the previous session. Here, how you calculate sum of the digits? Okay, I think it is using a normal only. We can call recursive function also. Okay, so R sum of the digits, I think we have one more. Yeah. So this is sum of the digits. Okay. Now we will let me search for sum of the digits program. It is somewhere else. So meanwhile, let me show one more program here where, yeah. Okay. So we already shown two programs already. The factorial of a given number using recursion, as well as sum of the natural numbers using recursion. Now we want to show a Fibonacci logic. And once again, what is a Fibonacci series? We already know. Printing the numbers from beginning to end until you are requested. Okay, so here in the Fibonacci series, what is the base condition? Here the base condition is two conditions we'll check. If the entered number is 0, then the value is 0. If the entered number is 1, we will return a value 1. If the number is greater than 1, what you have to do is, we have to, if other than 1, what you will do is, we will return Fibonacci of I minus 1 plus I minus 2 after the if block. Okay, so we will try to execute this Fibonacci series here. Okay, so we will try to execute this Fibonacci series using a simple program here. Now let us execute this program. Hope you observed here. I am printing a Fibonacci series up to 10 elements. Okay, so where the first value is 0, second value is 1, and the third value is a sum of the first two elements, fourth value is sum of previous two elements. Like this, the Fibonacci series is printed up to 10 numbers. Okay, so what are you doing here in the program? In the main function, you are printing the Fibonacci series up to 10. Assume that you want to print up to 100. Simply you make it 100 here. For I is equal to 0, I less than 100, and I plus plus. And you are calling a recursive function Fibonacci. So here only you are calling function. Okay. So here you are calling a function where this is a recursive logic for Fibonacci. So if you observe in the Fibonacci recursive logic, what you are, please observe and let us execute. So once again, we will try to execute this code because we want to print now 100 Fibonacci series. 100 times we want to print a Fibonacci series. So please observe a big values are printed, 0 to almost 28,657 times you have printed a Fibonacci series. So it is because we have printed using a tabular format, it is printed like this. Okay. If at all you want to print using a new line, if you want to print a new line, then it will print in a different. So if you want to print a new line, then automatically, so you can give new line or tab, both are okay. Once again, we'll execute. Okay, so we are printing the value till what? Up to from 0 to 100 times we want to print the Fibonacci series, which is generated continuously. So is that clear, everybody? So that is about Fibonacci series. Okay, so printing a Fibonacci series is using recursive logic. So here if you observe, the Fibonacci series is generated for 100 times. Okay, so it is still generating because you have not given a long data type. Okay, it will generate further because you have given an int here. If you want to provide a very big number, you can modify this return data type as long, and you can provide a very big Fibonacci series also if you are interested. Okay, so this is a Fibonacci logic using recursion. Fibonacci program, the program is very easy, people. Here only thing is, if the condition is, if the I value is 0, return 0. If the I value is 1, return 1. Otherwise, just call return Fibonacci I minus 1 plus I minus 2. Because always Fibonacci series, what will happen? The third element is a sum of previous two elements. Okay, so I minus 1 plus I minus 2. So this finishes your Fibonacci series program. Next, then we want to calculate here. So you can directly like this, else you will calculate a result and you are calling back. So instead of writing this, you can directly return also. So return. So simple function which will calculate x power base power b power p. Okay. So base power value you want to calculate. Example, if you have entered 2 power 10, it will calculate what is the value of 2 power 10. Are we clear, everybody? So we will instead of simple logic we want to write, because we want to reduce the number of lines, people. We want you to reduce the number of lines. Now, whenever you want to perform power, whenever you want to write a power program, what you will write is, when power is 0, the answer is 1. Okay. Otherwise, you have to multiply again and again. So let us compile this program and run this program. Now assume that I want to calculate 2 power 10. 2 power 10. So base value is 2 and the power value is 10. And the 2 power 10 answer is what? 2 power 24. So is that clear, everybody? So simply we are calculating 2 power 10 value. So let us execute one more time so that if we want to calculate something else. Assume that we want to calculate a complex answer, like complex problem like 9 power 5. So what is an answer of 9 power 5? 59,040. Is that clear? So like this, here, please observe how you are calculating recursive function here. So this line is very important. Okay. So a long int get power int b comma p. The power value is 0. So any number power 0, the answer is 1. So what is the smallest problem in power 2 power 10 or 5 power 10 or any problem? Always, where is the which is the smallest problem? 0. So that problem, first we are writing a termination condition first. Okay. So this is a base condition. This is a base condition. Now this is the solution. If the problem is not small, you are continuing the recursion, calling function recursive. So is that clear, everybody? So a simple 4-line solution to calculate base power. Of course, this function is already available in math.h using power function, but we are writing a user-defined logic for this. Now, finally, we almost illustrated so many programs on recursive functions. You can also calculate string length using recursion also. Okay. So this is one more program using string length. So this is a program using string length concept. Okay. You are calling a recursive function and returning a length. Okay. So let us execute this program. So all these programs will try to forward to you people. Please refer once. And now assume that I want to enter MVSR Engineering College. Okay. I think we are taking input using getS. So let us execute once again. MVSR EC. Okay. So we are able to calculate length of the string using iterative. We are trying to enter a string, but this getS is giving some problem, I think, people. So when we are explaining a strings concept, we will try to show you how to calculate the length of the string once again. Okay, so this finishes your programs on recursion. So finally, so what we have concluded is in the recursive concept, then we will start a new concept called as structures today. Okay, of course. So we will conclude about recursive functions. So we have started discussing about what is recursion. Recursive functions are functions which are calling itself. So whenever a function calling itself is called as recursive function, we use recursive functions whenever the problem is complex and you want to give a very easy solution. And recursive functions are very easy to write programs in terms of programmer point of view, because how a programmer think, in the same way we can write. Is that clear? So the programmer, how he is thinking in the brain, the same way he can write a program. Okay. And compared to iteration, in iteration, the control is transferred using loops, whereas in recursion, the control is transferred using function calls. Is that clear, everybody? So try to execute some programs on recursion, a very, very important concept in functions in C. Okay. So usually this recursion is used as an application in traversal applications like traveling a tree, traveling a graph in data structures, and a complex problem like breadth first search and depth first search in data structures, and classical problems like Tower of Hanai. Whenever a problem is very, very complex, where a problem can be divided into pieces, we will go for recursion. Okay, so that's about recursion, people. Now let us start a new topic called as structures in the few minutes. Okay, so let's, okay, so let us